fucking hell. On the 1st of July, Stanley Johnson, the father to the current Prime Minister, and man of the people, Alexander Boris Johnson, posted up some pictures of him flying out to Greece on his Instagram. His Instagram, by the way, contains a solitary Amazon link to his recently republished novel. Very tasteful. He claims he was flying out there to COVID-proof his property. Like it's a fucking zombie apocalypse. What, he's going out there to like board up all the windows and set like traps and stuff, dig a moat and fill it with crocodiles? Like, I don't know. If he means clean it, then why not just hire somebody locally to do that? I think if he can afford to own a villa that he rents out to people, he can probably pay somebody local to clean it for him rather than him having to take the riskier option of flying out there. Now, in order to get out there in the first place, he actually couldn't fly directly to Greece. You see, Greece currently has a travel ban on flights coming directly from the UK, so he had to fly via Bulgaria, which, thank God for that EU freedom of movement we've got. I think it's pretty hard to argue that this kind of undermines the government advice on non-essential travel. It's not the first time old Stanley has taken a dig at the rules. Just before the lockdown, as the Conservative government were kind of umming and ahhing about whether to actually lock down like other countries had, the Prime Minister did a speech saying that you should probably avoid clubs and pubs and coughing into each other's mouths. And the next day, Stanley was on TV saying, well, if I need to go to the pub, I'll go to the pub. And also that he just wanted everyone to catch COVID so they could get over it. Well, that comment didn't age well. Anyway, a short while after the flying to Greece story came out, Boris went on LBC to do his best impression of a bugged out Skyrim NPC whose like dialogue box was just like stuck in an endless loop, and refused to answer just a simple question about whether or not he was disappointed with his dad for breaking the advice.
I'm very, very pleased that the overwhelming majority of the British population...
but are you disappointed with Dad?
I'm very pleased that the overwhelming majority of the British population...
You're not going to give me one comment on Dad?
The overwhelming majority of... no.
However, the Stanley Goes to Greece road trip movie did kind of feel a little bit like the slapdash cash grab sequel to the original movie, which was the Dominic Cummings saga. If you're not up to speed, Boris Johnson's chief advisor flaunted the lockdown rules twice. This was in like the height of the lockdown. Dominic first travelled from London up to County Durham to drop his kids off with his elderly parents because him and his wife had started experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. You know, COVID-19, that highly infectious virus that is much more dangerous to the elderly. So that was the first time. The second time was him driving 25 miles to Barnard Castle to test his vision. I mean, that's a bold move. His plan to test his vision was to pile his wife and his kids into the car and go, hey, we're going for a test drive. Anyway, I think it's pretty indisputable that Dominic Cummings acted against the rules that had been set out by the government. So, obviously he was fired, right? I mean, there was plenty of other MPs from this country and from other countries where they were found out to have been flaunting the rules and they resigned, right? So obviously this guy who isn't even elected, he resigned, right? Or was fired, right? In one of the daily briefings, Boris came out and said after a good, hearty face-to-face time with Dominic Cummings, he had decided that he had acted responsibly, legally, and with integrity, and to have just done what any father in his situation would have done. Believe it or not, this didn't actually go over too well, and neither did Dominic Cummings' own statement, which was essentially to go, well, technically... Anyway, he's still there, he's still working for the Prime Minister, he's still suffered no real reprisal for it, so that's cool. So what point am I trying to make with all this? Well, it might sound cliche, but it really does kind of feel like it's one rule for them and another rule for the rest of us. There's so many stories about people losing businesses, people losing loved ones, people missing funerals, like all this crazy shit that people have done in order to try and stick to the rules, and yet these guys can just kind of flaunt that and carry on like it's business as usual. Yeah, it's just incredibly frustrating. I wish there was a fun, positive note to end this video on, but hey, it's 2020! So there's a little explanation of what this channel kind of is, what we're doing. This is going to be a little joint project between me and my friend Bazzy, and really we're just going to focus on news and topics and politics and bits like that from the UK. Yeah, maybe this should have gone at the start, but Since we're still in kind of socially distanced lockdown, kinda, but not really, I don't really know what the situation is anymore. We're going to take it in turns and alternate making videos. So the next video out that you see, that'll be by Bazzy. We're both kind of collaborating on writing them and throwing ideas around, and it's a little bit freeform. You just kind of see where it takes us. Once we're kind of out of the woods as far as COVID-19 goes, and we're able to actually like properly meet up again, we're going to start filming stuff together. This is the start of an idea. If you like this kind of structured-ish rant, give us a like, subscribe, all that kind of YouTube stuff. We might have social media, you know, maybe we'll have a Twitter. Maybe we'll have a Twitter. We might have a Twitter. We might have an Instagram. I don't know. We'll sort that stuff out at some point. Anyway, until the next video, stay safe out there, and yeah, catch you next time. Bye.